Hello, guys. How are we doing? All doing tonight? Hope we're all well. Ready to start the day, etc., etc., etc. All that jazz in the Jazzersons. I'll put it over here. Pinned. There you go. Anyone can come up now. Not great. Wonderful. Skidoosh. So yeah, guys, I'll probably have another movie review for you tomorrow. And we go from there. Hope we're all well. Good. Ruski, how are you? The legend, the myth, the man, Caucasians. That's what, ladies and gentlemen.
Testing. All right. The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, that's you.
Oh, bother. What have I done? What's up, bud?
Yeah, it's all good. What's happening?
Did you figure out your OBS problems?
It turns out I didn't need the OBS.
Well, yeah, you can straight raw dog your PS5 to stream straight up.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need OBS. I use a capture card.
It's just so I can interact with the with the audience, you know.
Yeah. Ruski relaxation. What's up, bud? All right, giggity. Get my other stuff hooked up so we can see what's going on in the world. Guess what I got?
What'd you get?
I have Mexican Long Hair's completed movie script.
Oh, nice.
Now, what's really put some people out is there's like a whole crowd of people who have volunteered to be involved with it. He sent out 2 copies of it 2 weeks ago, like excerpts. Yeah. And I got one. I don't know who else got the other one. But then yesterday he like reveals that he finished it. And I was sitting around, I hadn't looked in the email in a week, right?
Yeah.
Just sitting around not doing nothing, man. And so I'm like, I wonder, does that mean I have the script now? And I go and check. Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Dark Shadows, huh? Let's try this. Dark Shadows of the Night. I'll be right back.
Not that. Derek, good to see you. Hope you're well. Are doing good.
We might as well get it all straight. Make sure we know who we're talking about. Wait, why is that backwards? It's backwards over there too.
Take two. Take two.
Yeah, man. Go hijack it off the channel. I've actually got a bunch of people who are using clips of my voice for like parts of their intro and stuff, like Blue Unicorn, who's Mountain Fresh. Blue Unicorn is Mountain Fresh. I told him he shouldn't ask me to do that while I was drinking. So what you got going today, bud?
I'm just gonna chill today.
Oh yeah, cool.
I don't know. Very late stream there last night. I don't know whether you caught that, but yeah. I said fuck it, you know.
Yeah, I get it.
I was one of those fuck it moments.
I feel like I should have a cup of coffee. Let me tell you what I did the other day, right? So I had a chick coming over. So, I'm a bit of a slob because I have a tendency of sitting here at this computer for hours on end. And I like sometimes when I'm working, I will stand up, I'll turn everything off. Sometimes I just put it to sleep and we'll lay down. Like my bed, I can almost touch my bed from where I'm at. So like I'll stand up and wake up with my feet hanging off the bed, sitting in the chair. Yeah. I did nothing but lay down sideways on the bed. That was it. Just out. But likewise, sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night with an idea and I'm like, oh, okay. I know how to handle that. And I go ahead and do it. And I wake up the next morning, I might be sitting in my chair. So naturally it tends to get a little bit cluttered with empty drink cans and burnout Red Bull bottles and shit. So I decided to clean up. And once I got started, I just kind of kept going until it was clean, right? Uh-huh. And then I sat down, looked at my computer, and was like, Jesus, I need to scrape that thing off. And so I went and got some like screen cleaners and started cleaning. And I went through half a pack of screen cleaners between my 3 monitors. I was like, oh my God, I'm a terrible person. I called that lady, was like, you might not want to come over here. I'm a filthy animal. I just finished cleaning. I still don't feel like I'm done. She's like, man, I don't care. I'm like, whatever, but listen, get tetanus shot or something. Oh. You ever dropped your basket?
What?
It's a euphemism implying that you lost your sharpest tacks in your head, right? Dropped your basket. I can't remember the book it comes from. There's some book where this lady leads a perfectly normal life, except once every 6 or 8 months, she straight loses her mind. Usually she notices it coming, or someone tells her you're acting weird, and she goes down to the psych ward, checks herself in for a week, loses her mind in privacy, comes back out, and everything's fine. In the book, I think it was the late 80s, they closed down a bunch of the volunteer psych wards that were in the country, like 80% of them. The book picks up a week after that psych ward was closed, and she, once every few months, changes her name and moves to some island off the coast. And sometimes she remembers to come home, and sometimes she doesn't. What's up, bud?
Hey, what's up, Dirk?
What's up, that man has a beautiful shirt.
First time
That is-
caller, you're on the air.
That's gorgeous.
What's going on, Caucasian? It's been a while, buddy.
Yeah, I'm chilling like a villain, you know, cheating, robbing, rhyming, stealing. You know how it goes.
Yeah, I hear you. Only a real man can rock the pink.
I don't necessarily agree, but you're not wrong that it first takes a real man to do it.
And this is aggressive salmon.
That is a very aggressive salmon. In fact, I'm a little scared of it.
I think we're old enough to remember Miami Vice from the 80s.
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And how the whole Don Johnson clothes thing was in the stores, and everybody wanted to look like Don Johnson and run out and buy. So yeah,
You know what's funny to me about that? That might have been the case in Florida or California or New York. In Georgia, I used to have a group of buddies that all wore they were always in tack gear or military surplus type, right?
yeah.
Me, I'm over here, you know, wearing welding gear and stuff out to the club because I just got off work. I get off work, I don't even take a shower. I just roll into the freaking bar and sit down and have me a couple of drinks. Of course, I wasn't there to meet people either. I was there to get hammered.
Oh yeah.
But they used to take these guys dressed like Don Johnson out of the club and work them over, spray paint their jackets and shit. Why? I don't know. I never could figure it out. What's the problem with them? I don't know.
You know, I've always liked tactical gear. I thought tactical gear was cool. And I still
It's
do it.
tactical.
Yeah. You know, with everything going on in our world today, I mean, God, there's more of a need for tactical stuff than ever.
You know what's funny though? They want to take your guns.
Yeah.
But before they did that, before they took your guns, they took your body armor.
Yep.
Didn't even tell you about it.
Well, I live in Canada, as Eddie knows, and I'm sure I've told you a few times. I
Probably.
live in Canada, and right now our government is banning our they just last year they instituted a ban on hand pew-pews.
Uh-huh.
And now they want to ban our rifles.
You just need more rednecks. That would clear up real quick if you had enough rednecks in Canada. You want
We have a crappy government over here in Canada.
Yeah, or get the Irish community over there to like.
Well, I mean,
which is holy shit. We have. I tell you, we have some rallies. I tell you that now.
He's talking about Scottish. Oh man, like the Scottish, the Parliament in Scotland is absolute bonkers, dude. We need to get Ed McMahon or go speak out on that.
Yeah. But you know what? I mean, it's going to get worse before it gets better. That's all I'm going to say about that.
It's going to get way worse, bud. Like, I know almost no one in North America has experienced a civil war in living memory at all. But in Georgia, down here in the heart of the South, in the very literal heart of Dixie, capital of the Confederacy itself, we have signs on every road explaining what happens if you start a civil war.
Oh yeah, well, I'm on top of being a paranormal investigator, I'm also a history buff, and I love reading stuff about the Civil War, the War of 1812.
Take a look at Sherman's March.
I have
a real movie level experience. This individual went to the president of the United States and said, you got a civil war going on. Lincoln goes, yeah. He said, would you like to end it pretty quick? Lincoln's like, yeah, I'd like to end it yesterday. He's like, all right, give me 140,000 troops and I'll go burn Atlanta. He said, okay. And they did it. And then they burned Savannah and they burned my hometown on the way through. So,
oh yeah.
People don't realize he did that with freaking repeating rifles and pistols and cannons. He didn't do that with jets and tanks. He did it with horses and some very determined men.
The Union Army was a bit more at how do I put this? They were either they were a bit more brutal or equally as brutal as the opposing forces, if I may assume.
I have no chicken in either one of these fights. I don't care how people view the Confederacy. It was not a fight over slavery. It was a fight over states' laws. It is the ability of a state to lay its own laws and its own borders. Now, if you want to equate that to slavery, go right ahead. You're not going to pull no hair off my ball sack.
I have a friend of mine on YouTube. I think you guys might know him. His name is Sheriff.
Omar Sharif?
Maybe.
Sheriff Buford T. Cletus. He further educates me in the Civil War because he's from Atlanta. He's from Georgia.
Yeah. There are parks in Atlanta today that are there because it was a cotton pile. There was a pile of cotton bales during the Civil War. Sherman showed up and burned them, and it burned that area flat enough that after the grass grew back, people ate picnics there.
Yeah.
So same thing in Savannah. There's a few parks down there near Oglethorpe that didn't exist before Sherman showed up because he burned the buildings there flat and then fired cannons at them for fun.
Yeah, I hear that.
So, I mean, people talk about, well, what do you think it's going to take to set it off? Well, if you're waiting for me to join that fight, I'm probably going to be on the other side. I don't like losing.
No, me neither. That is why when I fall, I get back right up because I refuse to let life kick me when I'm down.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. I'm so used to being kicked when I'm down, I don't even bother paying attention to it.
Yep. I just say, is that all you got, life? Let's go. Come on.
It's just part of the program. I'm going to grab a cup of coffee. I'll be right back.
Yeah, well, we have the best coffee shop here in Canada, Tim Hortons.
Okay, well, I'm not going to Canada for a cup of goddamn Joe. I'm going to go to my kitchen and get me some cup of Starbucks, man.
Fuck Starbucks, man.
Are you looking for a fucking sponsorship or something?
No, but here's the thing. I have tried every K-Cup on earth. Like, I've gone through 1,000 vendors, hundreds of thousands of different types of coffee and blends and types and stands and styles and all that stuff. And I stumbled across something called Veranda Blend. It's not too dark. It's not too strong. It's not too much. It's okay. It's not horrible in any particular direction. It's not that it's great coffee. It's just that there's no particular part of it that I can complain about too much.
You should do a commercial with your voice, how you do things.
Dude, one of these days, one of y'all fucks is going to actually be somebody that can give me a job for voice acting, and it's going to work. Because this happens way too often.
I could totally see you doing another GTA voice. I really.
All right, you're going to come over here and get in the back of this trunk there, and we're going to beat you up with a tire tool and then take you out for some moonshine and work you over with steel. It'll be all right.
I'm going to say this and then go get your coffee. I could totally see if there was another GTA after GTA 6, you and Trevor Phillips could be best criminal partners.
Should ought to have an argument. Argue with each other just constantly. Not actually do any plans or nothing. This is Trevor. What the hell are you talking about? We're not partners. I just lived through it.
Oh, fuck. I love those games. I love those GTA games, especially GTA 5.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people is like really loving that. I mean, it's still being played today, which is astonishing, you know.
And there's even short little movie clips on YouTube. You know what I mean, of them reenacting certain scenes from the game.
Yeah.
So how are you, Eddie?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, Derek. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just having my. What is it? My third cup of coffee.
Okay.
I might go out there and put a cemetery vid out there today. So.
Yeah. I have to. Yeah, do one today. I have to. I might do a 100 video myself. I don't do them very often, but
yeah.
It's yeah. I meant to do one last Halloween. Like I usually do them around Halloween. Like,
Well, I'm due to be putting more video. I'm due to be putting videos out there now, so I
Yeah.
gotta, you know what I mean. So Barry, I don't know when the next GTA is due.
are you one of the 16 for the Omar Gosh?
I have subbed to Omar Gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like he was doing a recent video with Mindseed TV.
Nice. So yeah, I'm gonna go out there and put my first video out there of 2023 and get more videos out there as the days, weeks, months, and year, continues.
Yeah, I haven't seen like I haven't seen you like doing anything as of yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing something from your content.
Nice. I mean, I'm not all about the subs. I mean, having 300 and some subs is good, but I mean, I'm doing this because I have a passion and it's my way of being a documentary filmmaker.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Because what I do is documentaries, whether it's parent, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean that's I mean there's nothing wrong with that.
And I love documentaries. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd rather sit there and watch 8 hours of documentaries than 3 hours of a movie.
Yeah. I get people to come out here. Hold on a second. Skadoosh.
Skadoosh.
Skadoosh. There we go. Your link is out in the ether.
Awesome. You're still sub to me, ain't you, Eddie?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was having a few. I went to see a movie yesterday, and I done a review and a live soon after.
Nice. Well, I'm not just a paranormal investigator and a history buff. I'm also a ufologist. I also research cryptids, Loch Ness sea serpents, stuff like that. Because I'm into a bit of everything.
Nice.
I mean, next year I want to go up to Northern Ontario and see if I can see the.
All right, bud, check it out. I just subscribed to your channel, but it won't let me turn on the notification bell.
Thank you. Next year, I want to go up to Algonquin up in Northern Ontario and see if I can spot the Wendigo.
Son, don't do that. Okay, you got two choices here. You got two things that might happen in that situation. Okay, it's actually a mythical creature and doesn't actually exist. You find a serial killer and get chopped up in the woods up there in Canada. Or it's actually real and you don't find a serial killer and they eat your fucking face off. What are you thinking?
you know what, Sas? You know what? I mean, you hear a lot of people say, well, the Wendigo doesn't exist. It's all Native Americans that were on shrooms and mescaline at the time. And then you hear, well, it does exist. And so,
okay, no. That's not my debate. First option, he doesn't exist and it's people doing it. You find those people. Second option, it does exist and it eats your face directly. I don't see a beneficial outcome except not finding it.
So what you're saying is there's no fucking upside. There's only two downsides.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I don't know. You know, the wind. I've always been curious about cryptids, though, man. Bigfoot.
You want me to tell you my Bigfoot story?
Jersey Devil.
Why I'm named the Caucasian Sasquatch is because of something I saw out in the swamp.
Yeah, you probably saw Sasquatch or
I call it a hobo in a fur coat.
Okay.
All right. So I lived in a swamp that's probably 12 or 14 square miles. There's maybe 5 people that live in that general area. Most of them do not actually live in it. They live on the edges of it.
Right.
The road that I grew up on is basically a peninsula that sticks out in 2 directions with a little island in the middle. And there's bridges on both sides and you get to the house that way. Right. So I'm literally in the middle of the swamp. Grew up out there my whole life. So in 97, there was a drought. And it was the worst drought I ever saw. You could walk across the bottom of this swamp all the way to the creek and not get your feet wet.
Okay.
Because it had only been dry for a limited amount of time, there was no underbrush under the trees. Right? There was no chance for it to grow yet. It was still so dry that nothing was growing and it hadn't rained enough to cover it up. So there's like a little bit of grass, but that's it.
Right.
So where I was walking is typically under about 12 foot of water.
Wow.
Right. So I'm looking at this area in a way I have never seen it before. And I went out hunting for rabbits thinking that I might be able to find a rabbit. I didn't find nothing moving. It was so hot, so dry, wasn't nothing moving. So I said, well, you know what? I don't want to go home yet, and this ain't working. So I'm going to swing by my buddy's house and pick up my fishing gear I left over there, and I'm going to go out to the Medlock hole and catch me a couple of brim. It won't be a totally lost trip, right?
Right.
Medlock hole is this mythical place in the swamp where you throw things that you don't want to come back. What it really is a sinkhole that's covered by water.
Okay.
So it's like 8 foot, 12 foot, 10 foot, 160 foot deep.
Right.
8 foot, 10 foot, 12 foot. So knowing that there's always water in the Medlock hole and that it's very, very deep, I went there thinking I could fish in that hole with no problem. And I came up on a guy standing there in a big old fur suit. He's drinking water out of the Medlock hole like you've seen every single hominid commercial ever. He squatted down, knees out, and I don't know where my brain was at. I just wasn't expecting what I'd come across. And I was like, dude, you probably shouldn't be. And then it occurred to me, he's not wearing a fur coat. He is a fur coat. He's quite hirsute and almost blonde. Like the ends of his fur, which wasn't, it wasn't like Chewbacca with big long dreadlocks and stuff.
Right.
It was like a cat kind of, but there were longer hairs, and the longer hairs were all a very light sun-drenched blonde type color. And I was standing there with my gun, and I'm like, you probably shouldn't be drinking that. And he looked over his shoulder at me, and I went, and I just, something inside my brain cocked my gun. I loaded the gun without a thought process. Because this is not what I came here for. Click. And he gives this, it's totally human and absolutely human disappointment look.
Oh, fuck.
He goes, stands up, walks up the hill into the very nearest trees, and he's gone halfway there. His coloration, had he been just standing in front of those trees, I would have never noticed him. The only reason I was able to see him, not because he's blurry or anything, but because his pelt fit so perfectly the pine forest that we were in, right?
Mm-hmm.
It fit so perfectly that if he had been standing 5 foot to the right, 5 foot to the left, I wouldn't have even noticed him.
Wow.
Looked like dappled light and shadow on pine straw. And he stood up, walked off, and I stood there for a second, blinking. I said, "Did I just see a white Sasquatch?"
I believe there's more than one Sasquatch in North America. I mean, they've been spotted not just in Georgia or all through the South. They've also been spotted in California, Oregon, British Columbia.
Different.
Huh?
I think they're different types.
You think so?
I do. I'm not sure where they're coming from or whether they're native here or what. Me and my friends came up with an idea that they're the troglodytes that you hear about from time to time, and that when we witness them having either gotten lost and left their caves or coming out for specific resources or whatever. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I always thought it was a feral man for years. For years, I told everyone it was a hobo in a fur coat. But then I found a couple of other people that live out there, and they call him James.
Well, there's two. Hang on, let me just. Yeah, Barry. Some things can't be unexplained, and the UK is the only place in the world that doesn't have Sasquatch sightings.
No, they have elves.
Yeah, they have fairies, elves, and all
Hey.
that.
And we have leprechauns. So.
Yeah. Oh, the wee little bastards, leprechauns.
The wee little bastards.
I always figured they'd be going for your Achilles tendon with a razor blade. They terrify me, man.
But I've spent over 30 years, you guys, since I was a kid growing up in the 80s, researching the paranormal, cryptid, supernatural, unexplained mysteries, stuff like that. And the show Unsolved Mysteries opened me up to that prospect with Robert Stack. And they're how can you explain the footprints people find with Sasquatch? Or how about this one? What about
Hold on. That's one thing about this guy. The thing I come across when it crossed my mind right then and there in the scene, when it crossed my mind, did I just see Bigfoot?
Mm-hmm.
He was not big like you hear. He was not 7 foot, 8 foot, 12 foot. It was not like that. Mm-hmm. He was built just like a European soccer baller. He could have been Beckham. 6'4", maybe 6'5". He was big, but not huge. But he was strapped. Like he was swole and looked like he had been hitting the gym. But I didn't see no gym in that swamp while I was wandering around.
Right.
I don't know where he got them muscles, but they must have been natural.
Sure.
They were lifting. He was lifting a tree trunk.
Hey, I've seen some weird stuff out there that makes me think that might not be the case. That might be the case. We have this thing that happens out there. I've never been able to document it, although I've heard about it in other places. They will take, or for some weird reason, a tree will be uprooted, and I mean big around as my forearm.
I heard of that.
Will be uprooted. They will break the top off of it and then stick it back into the ground with the roots sticking straight up.
Oh yeah, that's good, Barry. That you're open-minded. That's. I'm not out. I don't do this to prove to skeptics out there. I'm just out there because I love it, and if you believe it, great. If not, I mean. But what was I going to say about that? I have heard of Sasquatches kidnapping people.
Hey.
No, I am open-minded to another realm,
Mm-hmm. Also, if you guys have your doubts about Sasquatch existing, and I think Caucasian Sasquatch can verify this, there is a pretty, how do I put this? There is a video out there that was filmed in 1967 of two friends in the wilderness that have captured a Sasquatch on video.
Is that the Cruder film?
That they were in the woods, yeah, in Southern California somewhere, yeah.
Southern or northern?
I forget, but it was in the woods. It was in the woods in California. I believe one of the guys' last name starts with an R.
Are you familiar with the Ape Canyon event?
I heard of it, but I never really delved deep in that rabbit hole.
All right, I went and dug up several different YouTube deep dives into that particular event, and it's been sitting over here on the back burner for probably 9 months, and I haven't done anything with it.
Wow.
I don't know. I went and gathered it up. I wrote a little bit of a script, and I just never got around to doing anything with it. I feel like there's something missing there, and I don't know what it is, but I'll know it when I see it.
Right.
Because I mean, think of the irony. You and a bunch of buddies go camping, and the first night, depending on which version you believe, the first night y'all camp in some dude's backfield that one of the people that's supposed to be going decides not to go for whatever reason, and then from there they go to Ape Canyon. There's a cabin. They go into the cabin, they hang out. The first night it's fine, and it's a little crowded, so they make tents outside to spread out the sleeping arrangements a little bit the next day. That night there is several occurrences. Rocks are thrown into the tents. One tree trunk rolls down the hillside and crushes a tent that no one happened to be in. There's a few hoot and hollers that they say they heard on that day. That night they decided to sleep in the cabin, and for all intents and purposes, it was a full-on assault. Rocks hitting the side of the cabin, tree trunks landing on the roof, all kinds of stuff. But that's all as it may be. Here's the irony to me. A group of people looking for unusual encounters went to a place called Ape Canyon and encountered Bigfoot. That beggars belief.
Yeah.
It's not named Ape Canyon because of Bigfoot sightings. It's named Ape Canyon because it would take a monkey to climb out of there.
Right.
It was just a joke.
All because of those damn dirty apes.
You damn dirty ape.
Are you guys quoting fucking Planet of the Apes?
Maybe. Who told you?
No, I just love that movie. I mean, the remake sucked, but the original was awesome.
Hey, Fire Goddess, I'm trying to subscribe to you, but my phone is not permitting it. Just like I can't turn on your notifications. I don't know what's up with this.
I mean, like Charlton Heston is one of the finer actors out there.
I used to
Chester was a great man.
You know, when I was a kid, I used to think Charlton Heston was Hugh Hefner because they kind of look a little bit alike in the face.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Charlton Heston has one of the best Second Amendment defense quotes on earth.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't remember exactly the way he said it, but it ends with, "You can have my guns when you pry them from my cold, dead fingers."
Everybody started saying that quote too. Yeah.
Yeah, there's more to it. There's a whole soliloquy he does, a full-on political aside from the interview he was doing, where there were two people asking questions, and one was asking about the movie and the other asked him about guns, and he stops doing the interview on the movie and explains to this guy that if you don't have your firearm and you're not permitted your Second Amendment and you don't get to defend yourself, what's to protect you from the villains that are and do exist in this world? How are you supposed to stand in the breach of need? You're not permitted to carry a sword. That was outlawed years ago. You can't carry a cannon in your back pocket. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
The peacock messed Darwin up. You're not wrong. The barnacle messed with him too. He couldn't explain barnacles at all. He hated them.
So anyway, anyone like a song?
Oh, I hate music. It's the worst thing that ever happened. You should probably just quit. No, go ahead, but I'm fucking with you.
I love music, man. I'm a classic rock and classic country fan. Give me some good old-fashioned Leonard Skinner or Kenny Rogers or Loretta Lynn. I'm good.
I want some bluegrass.
Oh, give me some dueling banjos from the movie Deliverance.
You know, that was filmed right down the road from my house.
Yeah, figured.
I got to tell you something. If Warren Beatty didn't make it down that river, there's no way in hell a Frenchman in a pair of bicycle shorts has a chance.
That movie was so fucked up, man.
I spent years perfecting this because of my accent, but I'm going to make you squeal like a pig, boy. Squeal.
Yeah.
Or my favorite, you got a purty mouth.
was.
My man got chill bumps. It's like,
You're missing. You got to get some teeth missing before you can fucking say that shit properly.
who says I got teeth? I'm in Georgia. I rented these. Let me ask you a question. How do you give a how do you give a circumcision in Alabama?
I don't know.
You kick his sister in the teeth. Go ahead, Daddy.
Oh God.
I hear a train a coming, it's coming round the bend. I ain't seen no sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. But that train keeps rolling down in San Antonio. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, son, always be a good boy. Don't ever play with guns. But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. When I hear a whistle, I hang my head and cry. I bet there's rich folks seating from a fancy dining car. There's probably drinking coffee and smoking big cigars. But I know I had it coming. I know I can't be free. But those people keep moving, and that's what tortures me. Well, if they freed me from this prison, if that railroad train was mine, I bet I'd move it on a little further down the line, far from Folsom Prison. That's where I want to stay. I let that lonesome whistle blow my blues away.
Yeah, buddy.
All right. I got a problem. So my homie sent me his movie script, right? And it's written in Swahili. Oh, it came up in like freaking HTML language or something. That's not right. I got to do it with a different. But no, close that program. That's not going to work.
You got a good voice, Eddie, man. I love hearing you sing.
Thank you.
I got a bunch of movie ideas in my head swimming around: horror flicks, documentaries. I was gonna do a low budget. I was gonna do a low budget horror movie next year, but low budget zombie movie. But the zombie genre has been overdone, man.
It has. The best twist on the zombie genre I've seen recently is not even really a zombie movie. It's also not a ghost story. It's just, have you seen Bone Tomahawk?
Nope.
Okay. It is a monster movie dressed up as a regular Western.
Okay,
it's
cool.
Beautifully done, has wonderful actors. The acting is immaculate. The cinematography is gorgeous. Really? It's great.
Okay, I have a question for you guys. So, I don't know how many of you guys love horror movies, aside from me. What do you think of the I can't even talk right now. I'm only drunk my third cup of coffee. What do you guys think of the cinematography on the original Exorcist?
All right. Eddie, it's your channel. You want to go first?
Yeah, I think it was practical. It was like they know exactly how to shoot a movie. It was just brilliant. I mean, I really love the cult classics. Now, unfortunately, that like what surrounded it, what was I mean, Linda, she got got a badly torn up back and like from the shaking of the like when she was on the bed and stuff like that.
Right.
But
The cinematography and the original what was it, Exorcist? What did you ask? Yeah, no, okay. The cinematography.
I say the original Exorcist because there's been a few done after.
Sure. I'm talking about the first one, the first iteration of The Exorcist.
The 70s one, with Linda Blair.
They took a lot of liberties with things that had not previously been done with cinema cameras. They used amateur type shots with professional equipment to give it a grungy, dirty backroom look while still having the svelte filter of a professional film. And that was gorgeous. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Only Phantasm does it as well.
Yeah, it was almost like you know
the funny thing about that statement is she was actually in the movie Repossessed. Anyway,
I think for that movie, the best cinematography is when the mother opened the door and the priest is standing there in that black silhouette.
Yeah.
Because you know that you know because you don't know if it's a priest or if it's the devil himself. So
I got one for you. Totally unique take on it. All right. Suppose the entire premise of that movie is backwards.
Oh God, yeah.
All right. Now I hear what you're saying. Like, oh my God, here we go, another nut job. But here we go. No, I hear what you mean. I get this a lot because I worked in movie rentals. And we had to check all the movies when they came in. And I've probably seen The Exorcist more than anyone has any business to. And it got me to thinking watching it. If you don't pay a lot of attention to the script, if you just watch the visuals of the movie, it can be debatable which side of this the priest is on.
Right.
Let's say that's a normal little girl that's not being possessed by a demon. Is that not a horror movie on that point? That the priests have chained her to a bed and are trying to cure her by throwing holy water at her? What if she's got tuberculosis or freaking a schizophrenia or something?
Yeah.
That's just abuse. It's just an abuse film.
Yeah. I hear you.
It's a straight snuff film, man.
Right. You got a point.
Well, it was a snuff film where the victim actually gets up and walks away at the end.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh damn! I am so tired.
I'll tell you what movie freaked me the fuck out was the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh fuck yeah! Jesus.
Can I take a swing at that one?
There was another movie, the Amityville Horror.
Okay, Amityville Horror is a joke. Don't even bring that shit into the same time.
Why is that a joke?
Because for several reasons. One, the actual movie itself was made more like a parody of the story itself than the actual story. The actual story was essentially a parody of other ghost stories, and the individuals involved in the Amityville house were all involved in making money off the concept of hauntings. So,
And Eddie, there was a murder that happened in that house in the 70s.
Yeah, Ronald DeFeo. Yeah.
However, after the Lutz family came out with their story, they got so used to what the Sasquatch is saying is they got so used to making the green that they started capitalizing more and more and more and forgot about forgot about sticking with what actually happened. If I'm making sense right now, and if you guys are understanding what I'm saying, because
I totally understand.
Because money fucking changes people. It really does. Money changes, and that story has been blown all out of proportion over the last 30, 40 so years. That that house. I'm not saying that tragedy hasn't happened and the Lutz family hasn't experienced anything paranormal in that house, but that fucking whole story has been blown way out of proportion. Over and over again.
But was it not the original movie, right? What was it? Was it not that like that?
The
that
original movie was made.
That's what really happens. No.
But the original movie was specifically made to profit off of a story that had been blown out of proportion by everyone who touched it. I don't like talking about the Amityville horror in general, mainly because people have such tight grips on what it is and what it's supposed to be to them. And I'm not a huge fan of people being rooked just because somebody wants to make a buck. Right?
I know. I never knew that they wanted to make money like that.
Go and look at it. Go read the first book.
From what I understand, like the original Amityville horror movie, like that was that is what actually happened, wasn't it?
Does anybody else play Minecraft? I got a question.
Nope.
Damn. I bred some villager kids, and they're all living up here in this hallway for no apparent reason. I don't know why they're there. They can get down. All I got to do is come over here.
Could they be children of the corn?
Jesus Christ, what just happened? Stop it.
Yes. You said my name.
No, I speak to God to speak to an equal.
Hey, Harmon. Hey, Warren Floyd. What's up? What's up?
What's happening, baby?
First time a guy's ever called me baby. Fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Gives me all the warm and fuzzies inside.
Well, I am Sasquatch. You should be fuzzy, and you'll definitely get warm.
He's not muted. Let me just.
You Southerners are sick.
Or you have no idea.
Fucking, I want to go to Mississippi. And all through the South.
The volume keeps going away, and I can't hear nobody.
Yeah, we can hear you now, Warren.
What's that?
We can hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, this phone's about wore out. It's 4 years old. I'm having trouble hearing you all, but that's not your problem. It's this phone's problem.
Yeah. You adjusted your audio, so you're good now.
Sounds like my last relationship. Derek, I'm sorry. We gotta break up. It's not your fault. It's my fault.
Now my phone's wore out. If you keep seeing my ear, it's because I got to get that close to hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, I adjusted your audio, so you should be good now.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can hear you perfect.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's the port, the charge port on this phone's wore out. Where you plug the headphones in, it's wore out. It's getting to be a pain in the butt. I got another phone, but I got to see about getting all my stuff off of this one transferred over to it, and I'm not sure exactly how to do that because I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose my YouTube channel and all that crap that goes along with it.
Check it out. If you go digging around into your share files and stuff, you'll find a Bluetooth doohickey that says share files through Bluetooth. You then have to sit down, and this is the annoying part. You have to sit down and pick what files you want to send and send them either individually or put them in folders and send them as a group, which can be problematic. So I would advise just doing it individually.
Well, the biggest thing, I want to transfer all my YouTube stuff to the new phone because I've got all my contacts wrote down. That ain't a problem. I want to put my YouTube account on the new phone.
Right.
And I have yet to find an easy way to do it.
Those Bluetooth transfers would be your best bet.
Okay. If this phone ain't too old to do it, it's 4 years old.
Maybe. I mean, it's possible.
It's an Android, and my new phone's an Android. Much nicer than this one. This is a Galaxy ON5, and this one here is a hell of a lot more updated. It's a little bit larger. Nice phone. I think I paid $129 for that one.
Bring back the 80s before all this technology.
Hard pass on
the late 80s? Yeah, give me an old 286 computer with 215K of RAM, and that was all you needed.
Give me a Commodore 64.
Now that's going back a little bit too far. They were too slow.
Yeah.
Old Commodore 64 with the tape in it. Yeah, I remember those.
Bring back AOL. You got mail. Fuck.
Dude, I still have an AOL account.
AOL. Oh, there was a lot of jokes about that. Always offline. America's only lost. Oh God, there was a blue million of them.
Bring. You know what? I still remember the furniture. We had when I grew up in the 80s. We had a Zenith floor model TV. Yeah. We had a hi-fi with the record player, the stereo, the 45 player, the 8-track player.
And don't forget the 78s. Don't forget those.
I still got my mom's 8-tracks packed away in the closet, to be honest. Eddie Rabbitt, Elvis Presley. I mean, all the greats.
I had a collection of, I still have in the record player sitting in there where my wife's grandmother left them, the entire from 1943 until 1992, every single Christmas album produced for Christmas music ever. Wow. Probably 200 albums.
There must be 50 of them there.
Maybe 100. There's a bunch. I don't know. The damn thing needs a forklift to move around in the house. Like, it's huge. And then it's got all the records in it. So,
well, sometime when I can, I'll do a walk around of the antique stuff I got. I've got a 1945 Motorola AM radio that belonged to my grandmother. It still works. I've got about a 71 model GE. It was called a Musiphonic clock radio, tube type. I've still got it. It still works. I got my grandma's old Zenith TV floor model. It does not work because it got hit by lightning, but I got it, and it looks like brand new sitting there. I've got a Magnavox console stereo. It's got a record player on one end. It's got a stereo AM FM radio on it. The doors on the speakers close in front of the TV, and the TV and the stereo comes through those speakers. Unfortunately, the TV has quit working, but everything else works. Yeah, it's pretty. It's a Magnavox. I think it's from about 1961. It's older than I am.
Wow.
Other little antiques I got sitting around. It's just odds and ends. I got.
All right, hold on. Let me get somewhere safe so I can tell this without dying. So when we moved into the house, it was owned by my wife's grandmother, who had lived here since 1984 when she built the house. I have some really weird things here. Like getting a saver and hold on. What just happened? Damn it. And one of the things I came across is in the shed, I found a box labeled flags, right? And this box had a sword in it and a bunch of flags, all of them Confederate flags.
Nice.
In that box was a note that was like, this was found, and it gave you the address of where it was found under the house of such and such when her father was cleaning out from under the house for them as a summer job. And when I say under the house, I mean like the crawl space between the floor and the ground, right? He was running around down there with a shovel, digging all the crap out from under there because they were going to be doing some underlayment and stuff. He found the sword and a leather bag. I never did hear anything else about the leather sack. He said it was full of a bunch of heavy marbles, probably shot.
Yeah.
Okay, so
caliber too.
I collect swords and knives, Sasquatch. I would love to see.
You go grab it.
I would love to see that sword sometime because I collect swords and knives. If it's a Confederate sword, man, oh my God.
Well, I've got a sword that my dad found in an old cabin somewhere way up in the woods of Georgia. And turns out, I finally found out what it was. It is a Spanish, what do you call it?
Cavalry?
Had to do with the church, but only Spanish royalty had these. And
Wow.
I've still got it to this day.
So you have a conquistador sword.
Yeah, sort of. But it was a religious Spanish royalties sword.
Oh,
Only
wow.
they had, and they were mostly used for parades and whatnot. But I have one of them. At one time, I had the scabbard to it. I don't know whatever happened to it. It got stole, I think, along with my 48 key.
Oh, Sasquatch. That's gorgeous, man. Oh, I'm in love. That's an authentic Civil War sword, if I do believe so myself.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's a cavalry sword, is it not?
Now,
I can get mine out from under the bed here.
as far as I've been able to determine, this is a bayonet produced anytime between like 1500 and 1850. There's no specific time that this particular design was made, but it has brass wire wrapping,
Oh,
shark skin grip, a layered oak and mahogany handle.
oh my God.
It is exceptionally well made, razor sharp to this day, and I guarantee you it has bodies on it.
Oh my God. I'm in love with both those swords. Oh, fuck.
Oh, that's
Is
beautiful.
that a rapier worm?
It's it's from what I know about it. It is a Spanish royalty religious sword. Only the royalty had these. The head, the end of the handle, and the hilt are some sort of silver. I'm not sure exactly what kind. But it's got a 6-point star on this one side. That way you can see this. It can be in the light a little better. And then on the other side, it's got like a slash mark that's like 3-layered. That is some sort of silver. I'm not sure. It's not pure silver. It's mixed with something.
Well, it has been proven that the Spaniards, aka the conquistadors, did go to the southern parts of the United States back in the day, and they explored, and they had battles and all that stuff. So for your dad or granddad to find a conquistador sword there. It's not out of the norm. You know what I mean?
And if you look close, there's a little hole on the handle end. Let me see if I can get it to the light where you can see it. There's a little hole there. And if you go to the hilt, there's another little matching hole. What used to be there is the only thing missing is a little chain, kind of a decorative chain. I did find that out about it. I have no idea what it's worth. The wood on the handle, I'm pretty sure is mahogany.
I never asked. This sword's not for sale. It is unavailable for trade or anything else like that. It is literally a family heirloom that will be kept here in the family.
Good.
Yeah, that's
As
the
it
same.
should.
as this one. I'd never get rid of it. I do need to clean it up a little though. The blade's getting rust on it from sitting around.
When I get my passport, if and when I go to the States, I would love to go to Colorado to that guy that has his own YouTube channel. What's his name? He has all sorts of military stuff that you can fire. Shit. Dragon Man, I believe his YouTube name is.
I may have watched his channel a couple of times. That sounds familiar.
He has M60s and all that other stuff that you can pay a fee and go and fire them on his property.
Oh, cool.
I don't know, man. Me shooting an M60,
With the price of ammo these days, I'll bet you it ain't cheap no more.
me shooting an M60, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't. I'd be like Rambo. Fuck.
I got a few firearms laying around.
Yeah, I don't have my P.
Son, I tell you what, you bring your ass to America, come down to Georgia, and I'll hook you up with a shooting range where you can just blast anything to your heart's content.
Oh, I got a 57-acre place that I'm the caretaker over. I can go down there and shoot anything I want to.
Yeah.
You know, as much as I love swords and knives, I do love a good firearm. The evolution of them and how they evolved over the centuries. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
King Carlos V.
oh, wow, there's some nice ones.
oh yeah,
That looks a bit like yours, Marlon, does it?
Yeah, it does. Except it's got more of an English look to it. Of course, I'm looking at something about the size, less than the size of the postage.
There is one thing on this sword that has always intrigued me.
what?
The side of it has stuff written on it, but for the life of me, I can't read it.
The resale price is $325.
Wow.
For that type of deal right there.
Oh, by the way, Eddie, any of my music that I put on YouTube, if you want to play it, share it, use it as background, go ahead. All of it's free. No copyrights whatsoever. 99% of it's all original. Every now and then I'll do a cover, but not very often.
Oh.
I think we'll re-examine the musical interlude here.
I'll show you guys a knife if maybe you guys can help me out with the provenance or whatever of this. Hang on a minute. Because I, for the life of me, can't find it on Google.
They're probably drinking coffee and smoking big cigars.
Sasquatch, have you ever seen a knife like this before?
Sort of, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you, you're not going to find a provenance on that. That's not a mass-produced thing. That was made by somebody.
Really?
Yeah, someone either had it made, and it might be older than it looks, or made it because they wanted it.
That's a Star Trek dagger, isn't it? Or
I think it might be something like from the Next Generation or Deep Space Nine, one of the war races, not Klingon, but one of the others.
Well, it's sharp as fuck. I'll tell you that right now.
That makes sense.
I call it a machete, but it's actually a sword. It's made out of a stainless steel leaf spring that went in food processing line, and
Barry
it's got a slight curve to it. Homemade. The handle's made out of a weed eater grip. But I don't know. I found it at a yard sale.
There he goes. Nope, looks like a zombie killer. Fuck yeah.
Tell you, a pig sticker like that'll kill most anything you stick it into.
Actually, where's my old common when I got laying around there? There it is. I like this thing. It's cool. It's a Gerber. I like that.
I like Gerbers.
It's sharp.
Dude, Gerbers are some of the finest knives ever made on earth.
Look how thick it is. It's actually what they call a deer skin or something like that. It's a quarter inch thick. It's a good heavy. Real built. Not bad. I imagine it's probably 35 away. Good night.
Here's my cavalry sword.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Sasquatch, take a look.
Yeah, no, that's very similar to this, but that one's longer. And this one, while it's this isn't curved, right? Most bayonets that are made pre-attaching to the end of your rifle had a curve to them. Now, the cutting edge on this is curved, but the back, the actual spine of it, is almost perfectly straight.
is that the Damascus?
This one, I can tell you.
Oh, there I'm talking in the dark.
I don't know if this mini sword is Damascus steel or not.
Nah, it's pretty easy to tell if it's got a rippled look to it. It's Damascus.
But it's got a cobra shaped handle here.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
This cost me $1,500 in a pawn shop.
Wow.
Wow. It's probably somewhere around that value then, because I know pawn shops they sell something.
This cavalry sword cost me $500 in a pawn shop.
Wow.
Plus, I got 2 samurai swords.
Don't let an anime kid hear you say that.
Huh?
So don't let an anime kid hear you say that.
Fuck them. They ain't getting my fucking side.
Well, actually,
I'm building up my sword and knife collection, man. Ain't nobody getting these babies.
no, what I'm saying is there's no such thing as a samurai sword.
Oh no?
No, the samurais used katanas and ninjatos. And so when someone says a samurai sword, it exposes them as not knowing what they're talking about.
Okay, katanas. Yeah.
Right. And then there's daikatanas, which are also considered a samurai swords, but they're like freaking long. They're really long, like 7 foot.
And the daikatanas are royalty, aren't they?
Yeah, no, they're freaking ginormous, and were only carried. I don't think they were actually carried. I think they were displayed.
Right.
I'll tell you one that tickled me. Remember Saturday Night Live? Oh, Jim Belushi and one of the other guys done the Samurai Delicatessen. That was funny as shit. The one lady comes up and says, "Can you cut that in half?" And he goes, "Oh yeah." He cuts the whole damn counter in half while cutting the sandwich. That was funny.
If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? Or I must be traveling on now, 'cause there's too many places to see. If I stay here with you, girl, things just couldn't be the same. 'Cause I'm free as a bird now, and this bird you cannot change. This bird you cannot change. This bird you cannot change. Lord knows I can change.
Bye.
Bye bye, it's been sweet love. Though this feeling I can change, but please don't take it so badly, 'cause the Lord knows I'm to blame. But if I stay here with you, girl, things just couldn't be the same. 'Cause I'm free as a bird now, and this bird you cannot change. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This bird you cannot change. This bird you cannot change. Lord knows I can change. Lord help me, I can change. Lord, I can change. Oh, I can change. Fly free bird, oh yeah. Lord knows I can change. Fly free bird.
You got a good voice, Eddie.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. He damn sure does. I was just carrying y'all on a little walk through from my room to my sitting room. To
You ever think? You ever think of Eddie? You ever think of going on Britain's Got Talent?
I did go on to X Factor in 2006. Got to the second round.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, I was thinking of going on America's Got Talent before Canada Got Talent came. But I mean, I'm not. I don't dig Simon Cowell, how he talks to people.
Yeah, he can be somewhat of a smart ass.
Just like Ramsey. I don't dig how he belittles people at times on his shows when it comes to. I don't stand for being belittled and being talking down to. I don't go for that.
Right.
You know what? I mean, on 30 years like playing, like 33 years playing guitar. That like I went from the streets to the stage.
Yeah.
Like I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I already made it. So, you know.
Yeah. I kind of a fan just playing wherever. It don't, you know. Somebody says, "Hey, why don't you come over and play this party or whatever?" I go, you know. Just,
I love the guitar. I love the saxophone, the harmonica.
yeah. I love the sax. A buddy of mine, he's getting pretty damn good with it. He finally got him one. The last time he played when he was about 16, and he's got him another one now, and he started practicing, and he's getting really good with it.
Yeah. I love Freebird. That's a good tune.
Yeah, it is. That's one of my favorite. I love Skinner.
So-
And I also like a lot of Skinner songs that are rarely heard, like the one called "Coming Home."
Yeah.
Mississippi Kid. That's a fun one. I like that. What's the other one? I can't think of the other one right now.
My favorite Skinner songs are Freebird, Simple Man, and That Smell.
Oh, all those are on gold and platinum. All three of them sure are.
And I'm a huge Eric Clapton fan. I love my Eric Clapton.
Oh, Eric Clapton, shit. That's a standard in the old rock. He's a standard. Bob Seger too.
Yeah, Bob Seger. Yeah.
I always like that song he did called "Against the Wind." I swear he wrote that about a biker.
And you can't forget about 38 Special or Molly Hatchet.
Oh hell, 38 Special was the start of Leonard Skinner. Did you know that?
I'm older now, but still running against the wind. Yep.
There was one or two of the band members from 38 Special that wound up in the Skinner band.
Nice. Deep Purple. Can't forget about them either.
No, hell no. They used to be featured on the Midnight Special along with Uriah Heep. Remember those?
Yeah, oh yeah. I also remember Wolfman Jack. You guys are too young to remember Wolfman Jack.
We're coming again from the back of the track. We're going to run it up one down the side and down the other. We're going to do it one more time and one more time again. So come on in with woo! Wolfman Jack's coming to you straight from the coast.
I remember the old Wolfman Jack. He was so cool. Oh, yeah.
Fucking MTV. Remember MTV back in the day? Shit.
Oh, hell yeah. When it first started, it was awesome. And then it kind of got sucky. When it first started, that was the shit. Everybody was watching that every Saturday night.
Yep.
But then it kind of got too mainstream. You know, it went from, kind of freestyle, let's have some fun to trying to make it into a Broadway production or something. And I was like, it
Yeah.
just ain't got the charm it used to have. What happened?
Yeah, not chosen. Headbangers Ball. There'll never be another Headbangers Ball ever, man. Even though I was a kid,
Dr. Hook.
I'd never been.
I love Dr. Hook.
Come on, man.
That
Have you
man
never
did
heard?
not play for the money. They played because they loved it.
She Was Only 16 is one of the most beautiful love ballads ever written by the hand of man, and it was performed by those gentlemen flawlessly.
I've heard of Dr. Hook. I've listened to some of their tunes, but I've never been a big Dr. Hook fan, man.
All right, you want anybody to remember Dr. Hook?
You are a fan, you just don't know it.
With this song. Well, with big
There's
rock
Freaker's
fingers,
Ball.
golden fingers, and we loved everywhere.
Yeah, hold on. Let me lay it out. Let's see. Come on, sugar. Hey, Ray, tell them who we are. Oh, I lost the beginning. How does it begin? What's the first line?
Well, with big rock singers.
Right, there it is. Well, we're big rock singers. We got golden fingers, and we're loved everywhere we go. We sing about beauty, and we sing about truth at $10,000 a show. That's right. We take all kind of pills to give us all kind of thrills, but the thrill we'll never know, right?
Here's the thrill that'll get you when you.
You know what? Fuck it. I think today after when I get home this afternoon, I'm gonna put on YouTube and listen to some Dr. Hook.
Only 16, Sylvia's Mother, Penicillin Penny, cover of the Rolling Stones.
Oh God, I forgot about
freaking. Hold on, I'm not even halfway through. Let me finish. Cover of the Rolling Stones. What's the other one? Nike. There's a bunch of them. They were glorious. There was
they
didn't play for the money. They played because they loved to play. You could just tell it.
I do like the song Cover of a Rolling Stone. I do like that song.
Sylvia's mother said, Sylvia's busy, too busy to come to the phone. Sylvia's mother said, Sylvia's trying to start have a new life of their own. Sylvia's mother says Sylvia's happy, so why don't you leave her alone? An operator said 40 cents more for the next 3 minutes. Please, Mrs. Avery, I've just to talk to her. I've only keep her a while. Please, Mrs. Avery, I just want to tell her goodbye. Sylvia's mother said, Sylvia's packing. She's going to be leaving today. Sylvia's mother said, Sylvia's married a fellow down Galveston way. Sylvia's mother says, please don't say nothing to make her start crying and stay. And the operator said 40 cents more for the next 3 minutes. Please, Mrs. Avery, I've got to talk to her. I've only keep her for a while. Please, Mrs. Avery, I just want to tell her goodbye. Sylvia's mother said, Sylvia's hurrying. She's catching the 9 o'clock train. Sylvia's mother said, take your umbrella, 'cause Sylvia's starting to rain. And Sylvia's mother said, can't thank you for calling, and her won't call her back again. And the operator said 46 more for the next 3 minutes. Oh, please, Mrs. Avery, I've just gotta talk to her. I've only keep her a while. Please, Mrs. Avery, I just want to tell her goodbye. Tell her goodbye, please. Tell her goodbye.
Nice. Somebody in chat said AC/DC. Yeah, they were good.
Yeah.
Nice, Eddie. Nice. Nothing like listening to some tunes and watching Minecraft at the same time.
Yeah, that's Dr. Hook.
Yeah, Sylvia's mother is one of the best. Penicillin Penny is a little bit better, but much more raunchy. To give you a little taste of how Penicillin Penny goes. She's Penicillin Penny. She's the queen of the Sunset Strip. Gimme. Well, if you ever give you any, you better see your doctor real quick. From the backseat of Cadillac cars to the floors of men's room bars, she's Penicillin Penny, and her future's written in the stars.
Nice.
Favorite line of all that? I always call her hun, but she called me 1001. See, Penicillin Penny likes to boogie when the day gets done.
Huh. my kind of woman.
Oh, and then there's Queen of the Silver Dollar. It's hard to pick it's hard not to pick a great Dr. Hook song because they're all very good. Like the man said, they didn't play for money. They made 10 grand for showing up to anywhere they happen to be.
They played because they love music and they love the audience and they love to play.
Dude, when you went to a Dr. Hook concert, you never knew who was actually going to be on stage because you might have any number of other stars that showed up to the show. And if you were a musician, you had a standing invitation to join them on stage and jam with them while they were doing their show. While they were doing their show, they might have 22 people on stage up there playing. Nice. They might have 6. It was amazing.
Nice. Awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, Eddie, I think I'm going to get off here for a bit and get ready for the day and get and charge a few things for tonight's video. And I'm only gonna. It might be. It'll be a historical cemetery vid. I might throw in a surprise paranormal investigation. With the spirit box and my K2
Yeah.
meters. So I'm gonna get off here and, like I said, get ready for the day and do a little bit of and just charge my stuff and I will see you all later on. And Sasquatch, thank you for subbing. And,
Yes, sir, bud.
Huh?
I said, yes, sir, bud.
And I subbed to you a long time ago, brother.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And I'll catch you all later.
All right.
All right.
Petey.
Cheers, Derek.
Cheers,
Fucking
brother.
right. Appreciate it, man.
I know this all seems kind of pointless what I got going on over here, but my homie just started this server not long ago, and he's really got his hopes up to go kill the Ender Dragon and stuff, right? And I don't think he realizes how many resources he's going to need to pull that off. So we have no iron. Like, I've yet to find a decent source of iron in this server except for villages. And that's no good.
I believe.
Sorry about that. Telemarketer call and it threw me off. I hope they open my hunting season on telemarketers. I'll be the first damn one out there with a box full of ammo.
Thank you. Come again.
Yeah, this is my recorded stuff anyway. You're my angel. You see me through. Believe in me. I believe in you. Oh, fill my heart. Your loving way. You're my angel. Pick me up when I'm feeling down. When I stumble on shaky ground. Oh, you're my answer when I can't tell. You're my angel. Oh, you take me up to heaven. When you spread your loving wings, when I'm weary and when I'm feeling out of my mind, when I find in my own bed, oh my my angel. You're my angel. You're my angel.
Nice. Very nice. Like it.
Indeed.
Yeah, I got a dumbass phone. A telemarketer called. I'm trying to hang up on the telemarketer and threw myself out the stream. So, oh well, that's what happened. I hope they open my hunting season on telemarketers. I'll be the first one with a whole box of ammo and 2-3 guns. They're aggravating. You can block a number.
Duck
They'll
thief.
call you back on a different number. They're just irritating. If I wanted their crap, I call them. I don't want it.
We've been trying to get in touch with you for a year about your car's extended service warranty.
Yeah. I said, oh, y'all cover 1966 Valiant? They hang up on me.
Right? Oh, you cover a 69 El Camino with a blown fucking valve? No problem.
Yeah.
All right. Shit, I'll sign up right now.
Hell yeah. Bring it on, baby.
Yeah, you're not going to like this. That thing's a drag racer. You're not going to like this.
Hey, can you cover my ex-wife's scooter? It's kind of wore out, but
This
can you cover
thing
that?
gone more miles than I could give it.
I told one of them that one time. That was funny as hell. I said, oh, can you cover my ex-wife's scooter? You know, it's kind of wore out, but it still works, sort of.
Sort of.
The guy goes, oh,
That's savage, dude. That's fucking savage. Oh my God, you're an evil man. You're a bad man. Fucking evil, dude. Oh, savage.
That's one of them. I said, hey, I got a damn 1976 DJ5B Jeep. Can you cover that?
No.
It don't have an engine in it or nothing anymore. It's just sitting in the yard. But can you cover it?
With a tarp, maybe?
That's what I was thinking.
Maybe. Well, let me tell you, man. Oh, Lord. I went to Texas and bought a drag race in El Camino. One of the worst mistakes I ever made. Drove it home.
It actually made it.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm a bit of a mechanic myself. I'm not unfamiliar.
Right.
Boy, I almost got blowed right the fuck up. Did you see that? Anyway, so I drive it home. I get it here, and back then I was strung out on every drug known to man, and I proceeded to lose my doctor's approved drug sources and turned into basically a street junkie for a while. And so my car ended up just kind of sitting out there, you know?
Yeah.
And you know what happens when you end up with a really good drug fiasco going on? There's a tendency to let people do things they want to do. And let people mess with my car. And now, not only does it not run, I have no idea what the hell they did to it to fuck it up. I just don't know. So I finally,
you know what that time is? It's time to go, okay, I've never seen this damn thing before. I'm going to go completely through it and just redo it. You know?
Yes, sir. I get that. But after I got done going through all that stuff and repairing the things that I knew was wrong that I had to repair, there's a few things there that I'm not familiar with. I don't know how they got on my car. So I don't remember approving any of that crap. But anyway, so I got a guy who's willing to do the work, and he's going to come get it as soon as his shop clears out a little bit, probably another couple of months. Yeah.
I'm surprised that something that was set up to be a drag racer made it over 500 miles to go home.
685 roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I blew that man's mind, son. I pulled up in his front yard and that thing was sitting there. I got out and walked up, looked at it, popped the hood, said, yeah, I can drive it home. He said, where? I said, Georgia. He's bullshit. I said, I can drive it home. It's bullshit. And as I'm talking, the O'Reilly's truck shows up with every tool known to man on it. And I pulled everything, started pulling stuff off of it, making sure everything was straight, put everything back, crunk it up, told him to have a nice day and drove out the driveway. I drove him to the bank to get paid in the car that he was saying wouldn't even crank up. He's like, I believe you might make it.
You blew his fucking mind, I guarantee.
Blew his mind, man.
That's like me. I go to the scrapyard one evening, right? And I'm a small engine mechanic by trade. I go to the scrapyard, and the old guy knows me. I've been doing business with him for 30 plus years. I go up, I see an old chainsaw sitting there. I go back to my car, get a little bottle. I got some mixed gas in it. Spark plug wrench. Walk back over there. I take the plug out, look at it. Looks pretty good. Put the plug back in, pull the rope, and it's got good compression. It'll start. I squirted a little bit of gas down the intake. Ring, ding, 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 ding. I said, okay, I'll keep that one. And went over there and found a weed eater. Done the same thing with it. I said, okay, I'll keep that. And I'm making a pile, right? I mean, everything there is for sale at scrap weight plus a nickel. Yeah, that's the way he done business. Oh, by the time I went out of there, I had 3 running lawnmowers, a chainsaw, and 2 or 3 weed eaters. He just shook his head. He said, my nickname, Termite. He said, Termite, you never cease to amaze me.
When I was growing up, one of the things I did for Pocket Money was selling cars. I would go find a car that was set up in somebody's yard, in the backyard, out in the cow field or whatever. And I'd go out there and sniff it. I don't know how to explain it. My friends say I'm crazy, but I go and sniff it. And if it doesn't smell like a burn up engine, I'll tinker with it. If I crank it up, I'll sell it.
Yep.
And let me tell you, I was riding with Untethered Live. You can find him on YouTube. His name's Jake Johnson. I was traveling with him one day. We're riding through going to Augusta, and there is a 1966 Plymouth. I think it was a Valiant. Parked in a.
I had a 66 Valiant. I damn sure did. I still got it. Matter of fact,
it was parked in a cow field next to where a cabin used to be.
I had a
cabin had burned down
under the hood, right?
Yeah. It wasn't a huge engine. It was big enough, though. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looked like a 6-cylinder that got tired and laid over.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, exactly. It was like a weird slant.
Yeah.
Anyway,
in that bad boy. Put a set of points in it. You talking about a pain in the ass?
Dude, no, listen. All right, so we were riding in an old truck, and when we pulled up, Jake was there wanting to ask about the tires that were stacked up next to the door. And while he's talking, I noticed an old man sitting on the other end of the porch. He's talking to the lady about the tires, and I walked over and I said, "Hey, man, I got $5 in my pocket. Says that's your Valiant." He said, "It's my oldest son's." I said, "Where is he?" "Died in Vietnam."
Oh.
Really? Yes, sir. I said, "We probably ain't interested in selling it, are you?" He said, "No, sir. But if you can crank it up, drive it out in there, not only can you have the tires that come off of it, I'll give you a full tank of gas to take it somewhere and sell it." I said, "All right." Walked up the hill. I'm not joking when I say this. My man had bought it in 66, got drafted in 67 or 60, late 66, went to Vietnam, never came back. That car had been purchased, had 19 freaking miles on it.
Oh, wow.
Sitting in the freaking field for 30 years. I dropped a battery in it, threw some gas in the carburetor and crunk it up, changed the oil, put the tires on it, and drove it out of the cow field. I had to drive it a half mile down the cow field over here to get it out the gate.
I'll be damned.
Drove it up to him, told him I'd be back in a couple of hours, left, sold it for $5,000, gave him $2,000. Told me he didn't want the money, that he just wanted somebody that wanted the car to have it. And I was like, "No, you don't understand. I could have a full collection of classic cars, but I have a knack for finding people who want certain things. I don't know how I do it. I know the kind of stuff you like by looking at what you got, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I bet the floorboards was damn near rusted out of it from it sitting on the
Actually,
ground.
check it out. It was the windows were rolled all the way up, and it had like a little cotton shed type thing that had been built up on one side, and the shed and everything had burned down, and the cabin had also burned down, but the roof over the top of that thing was still solid, and someone had stapled tarps all the way around it so you couldn't see it. I come through a week after the storm blew the tarps down.
Oh, wow.
And he told me, he's like, I have somebody come by about every other day asking about that car. I'm about tired of it. And I was like, well, I'm not trying to take it from you, man. If you want to keep it, well, I'll crank it up and drive it over here. We can park it here and put some tarps on it. I don't care. Jake looks at me and goes, man, why don't you do that professionally? Because I cannot guarantee a particular vehicle will crank up.
Right.
So I can't come to you and you be like, oh, well, I want this, and then go traveling around and find one and guarantee that I can crank it up and drive it to your house. But I've had a pretty good success rate.
Yeah, that's like me finding old motorcycles. I
Right.
found out God knows how many, and actually rode them home.
Oh, that's another good one. Another good story.
Rode them home.
I was coming out of Atlanta one afternoon with my brother, whom I call Skunk Ape. That's not a joke. And we were cruising along, and there was a cabin. I say a cabin. It was like an old trailer with a cabin behind it that was right next to the road. And right behind the cabin were 5 or 6 motorcycles torn down in various stages of disrepair. And I pulled up in the driveway, and there's another house further back. So we ride up to the house, and I go up and talk to him. I'm like, hey, you got a whole bunch of motorcycles up there. Is there any chance I might be able to buy one of them? He said, yeah, man, but listen, you can't buy one of those. He said, you got $500? Said, maybe. What are you talking about here? He opened his back door and had a immaculate gold wing, like a 82, 83.
Oh, an old 1000.
Oh,
Yeah.
one of the old the monsters, right? Looked like a freaking Winnebago riding down the road.
Yeah, had a
Anyway.
windjammer fairing on it.
Had the windshield, the big blaster stereo on it, the CB radio, the whole freaking thing was there, dude. Every bit of it. And I went, all right. So
500 for it.
no, that's what I said. I said, so what are you wanting to sell me for $500? Because I don't see anything in this shed for $500. He said, that gold wing. He said, but I want you to do something for me. He said, I'll give you that $500 back if you can crank it up and drive it 4 miles down the road and get whatever you can get out of it from towing. He's been offering to buy it for 10 years and I won't sell it to him. Okay, but you want me to take it and sell it to him? He said, I want you to take that man for everything he's got. I said, I'll be right back. I got to go think on this for a minute. I'm going to go grab some lunch and I'll be back. He said, all right. So I went and got some lunch. Talked to Jake about it, or talked to my brother about it. And my brother's like, man, I don't know. That sounds sketchy as all get out. Why would you trust him? I said, well, I don't know. I just kind of feel like he might have a point. I don't know what they've got going on, but whatever. Anyway. So I go back over there. All I did was put a battery. I jumped it off, dude. I jumped it off. The battery in it charged.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no. The odometer was messed up and it wasn't clicking over. I don't know if it had a dirt dauber in it or what, but yeah, the darn thing was ginormous, man. You could have moved in a whole family of Mexicans and saddle packs on that thing.
Yeah. Oh, it had the Porta-John bag on the back.
All of it, dude. The whole thing.
It looked like a Porta-John, right?
I don't know what all was in it. I did never open it.
I'm talking about the saddle bag and top case was all built one piece. It looked like a rolling Porta-John.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I remember those bikes. Hell yeah.
So now I got a problem. I have a perfectly functional running gold wing that I just paid $500 for, and I don't know how to ride the sumbitch.
Oh,
I looked at my brother, you ever rode a gold wing? He said, no. I said, first time for everything. I took a right, went down the road, and when I saw this man's house, I knew why he wanted me to take him for everything it was worth. Parked in front of his house were 5 years of gold wings except for this one. There was the 80, 82, 81, 82, 83, no 84, 85, 86, 80. You know what I'm saying? And I went, oh, yeah, nah, I'm fixing to smoke this guy completely to the ground. He has to have this motorcycle. It's not a question. So I pulled up. I ain't even wiped the dust off of it. He knew exactly where that motorcycle came from. He's like, what are you doing with my motorcycle? I'm selling it to you, bud. He's like, nah, I'm gonna go talk to Richard. I'm gonna get it from him. That's too late, man. I done gave him $500 for it. And his face went red, hair stood up on the back of his neck, and he said, I'll give you 1,000. I said, no, sir, you're gonna give me 5. He's not. I said, all right, y'all have a nice day. Turned around, almost dropped the summit in the driveway about twice. He come out, offered me 15 for it on the fucking spot. Dude, I got to have that motorcycle before you fuck it up. I told him, no, I can't do that to you. I told him, we'll make it 10. You tell the cracker down the road that I sold it to you for 15. I'll keep the 500 out of the whole thing, and we'll work out what to do with it after that. And he's like, all right, but you're not leaving with that motorcycle. Yes, sir. I pulled it over, backed it into the spot right between the missing spot.
Oh yeah, that your model did have a reverse.
Yeah,
Had a little handle on the side.
it had to. It had to. It's so freaking heavy. Yeah.
You put it in neutral. You pull the little handle up, and you hit the starter button, and it would back up.
It'd go blip, 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 blip. Blip, 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 blip. A little bit.
Yep. I remember that. I worked on those. I worked on motorcycles professionally.
Oh, here's another one.
Most of my life.
I had a minor miracle take place one afternoon. I was coming out of it was Hardyville, South Carolina, and we took a wrong turn trying to find some place over there to deliver windows. And I come across a guy who had a Baja buggy parked in his front yard, had a for sale sign on it. And, you know, I look at everything, you know, we're going to go check it out, see what it is. And I walked up to look at it. There's some other dude standing out there looking at some other cars. And I walked over and looked at it. He walked up and said, man, I've had 100 people look at that thing. Not one of them's been able to crank it up. See, is it broken? He said, no, it turns over. It runs. It's not seized up. Everything's fine. I can crank it up after about an hour, but nobody can keep it running. So if you want to buy the vehicle, you have two choices. You can pay me $1,000 and you can take it and do not bring it back, or you can give me $500 and I'll give you the $500 back in 2 weeks. You bring it back to me. Okay. I went in, fiddled around with it, tinkered, blah, 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 got out, walked to the back of it. And you know that central rod through the middle of the engine? Took a ball peen hammer and whacked that summit. Pink. I looked at it, man, your points are stuck in there, dude. You just need to get in there with a little bit of oil and some sandpaper them things up. You'll be good. Now, I have a question for you. Do you want me to give you $1,000 and leave with it, or do you just want me to leave?
That's good.
He's like, give me $1,000 to leave. I said, all right. And I cranked it up, drove it down the road. I'm sitting at a red light, probably 5 miles, maybe 10 miles away from that place. I'm sitting at a red light with my brother parked behind me, and a cop pulls out of the line waiting for no, it wasn't a red light. It was a train crossing, trains coming. And he pulls out of the line 5 or 6 cars back, pulls up next to me and looks at me, rolls down the window. I said, does there happen to be a problem? He said, yeah, you're driving my daddy's dune buggy. I was like, it's not your daddy's dune buggy, buddy. It's mine now. I'll give you $1,500 for it right now. Train goes on by, pull up to the Dairy Queen, get out, sign it over to him, get my money, and felt bad. Because you know how rare a Baja buggy is?
Sorry, not sorry.
So you want to make $1,000 for smacking something with a hammer?
Basically. Well, consider this. He had people working on it over the years trying to get it to run and keep it run. So it wasn't broken. It had just been badly tuned.
Right.
So I told him, I was like, you take it over here to this place. I gave him the name of the dude. I'm like, you turn him loose on it. Do not let anyone else in that shop take this job. You get Thomas to do it. Thomas is a genius with these things. You take it down there, you give it to him, give him a couple months, and then come pick it back up. It'll drive for the rest of eternity at 45 miles an hour.
Damn. As I went to an old, basically a motorcycle junkyard, and I ran across this damn little old Honda Express. You know, the mopeds that didn't have any pedals. I ran across that.
It resembled an old Vespa type thing. Yeah.
Well, they were real lightweight frames. Yeah, I mean,
they didn't have nothing but a little plastic around the front of them and stuff.
They didn't weigh but about maybe 100 pounds at the most.
75, maybe. It wasn't much. You could carry them around with you if you want.
75. I had 2 of those. They were nice. I like them. I'm talking about the little 50cc moped that looked like a bicycle frame with a bunch of pieces missing.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
Little gas tank hanging off the back and little tiny 2-stroke engine on them. Well, a little 50cc is what they were. I ran across one of these at this old motorcycle junkyard. Yeah, all the tires were flat on it. Looked like it'd been there for several years. And this guy said, "What do you want for that damn thing?" He says, "I don't know." He said, "I might just give it to you." I said, okay. So I grabbed it and knocked all the briars off of it and everything else and drug it up there toward the shop. And I says, "Wouldn't happen to have a little bit of mixed gas laying around, would you?" He says, "Yeah." I squirted a little bit of mixed gas up the carburetor's throat and I hit the little kickstarter on it and the little son of a bitch lit right off. Ding 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 ding. Of course, I knew at that point I knew the carburetor was stopped up. And I said, "Hell." I said, "What you want for it?" He says, 4 or 5 people have tried to start that son of a bitch, and you the first one that started it. Put it on your truck and get out of here with it. He give it to me.
I got a K10.
I spent about $100 on it, putting tires and shit on it, and cleaning the carburetor, and got it running good. I rode it for about a week. Some guy comes up and says, "Man, I really need some way to ride. How much you want for that thing?" I don't know. What you give me for it? He said, "I'll give you $250 for it." And I said, "Okay, I'll make $150." I said, "Cool." I said, "How you riding right now?" He said, "I ain't." I said, "All right, I'll walk back to the house." I was about 2 miles away from the house. I sold it to him right there on the spot. I walked back home.
I picked up a K10 Blazer one time. You ever see one of those things?
I remember the K5, but I don't remember the K10.
Okay, so a K5 is a fairly big Chevy, right? It big old tires, big old tall build to it. A K10 is longer, but not much, right?
Okay.
And like they take a Blazer body and stick it on it. Poof, it's a K10. But the Blazer's short. It's I swear it's like somebody took a Bronco and gave it steroids.
Yeah. Made it grow a little bit.
Yeah. So I was riding through southern Tennessee one afternoon, and I found a K10 that was sitting in a ditch. And when I say in a ditch, it was stuck in the ditch in front of a dude's house. And I went up and asked him, I was like, "What's up with that?" He's like, "Man, I got the thing stuck like 2 years ago." I was like, "Anything wrong with it?" He said, "Yeah, it's stuck." I was like, "Dude, it's a truck."
They just leave the vehicle stuck.
I mean, he was riding in this big ass Silverado. He had a Winnebago. He had 2 VWs. He had a whole toy trailer full of stuff over there. He just wasn't worried about it. I was like, "Well, hey, karmatically correct."
In other words, had more money than he had sense.
Yes, he had way more money than sense.
It's a lovely lady love.
So I asked him, I said, "How much you reckon that it would take for you to get that?" He said, "Man, I'd give it to you just to see you get it out that damn ditch. I don't know what's got it, but I've moved it a few times in the past years. I can't do nothing but move it up and down the ditch." I looked at it. I looked at him. I looked, and they're big, monstrous things. They're not easily stuck. And I went back to the car and I looked at the guy I was riding with. I said, "You see anything keeping that thing in the ditch?" He said, "Yeah, an idiot." I was like, "Okay." I went back up. I said, "Dude, I'm fixing to drive that thing out of the ditch. What do you want for it?" He said, "You get it out of that ditch, you can have it." All right. I went down there, climbed in, and knew the problem immediately. You remember in the really old ones, they had a shifter that you would push down on to get it into 4-wheel drive. The shifter was bent. It looked like it was in 4-wheel drive. It was not.
So what did you do? Take a hunk of wood and slam
No, I
down on
took the shifter out. I took the shifter out, turned it over, hooked it back into the latch and shifted it into 4-wheel drive, took a left and drove out of it, parked it on the side of the road, flipped the shifter back over and took it over to my buddy's truck, grabbed a hammer and beat that summit back straight and then hooked it back into the right spot. Right in front of him. And I looked at him one last time. I said, "All right, this is your last chance because I'm fixing to leave with this car. How much do you want for it?" And he handed me the pink slip.
I'll be damned.
Signed it, told me have a lovely day. I hope it works better for you than it did for me. But I got to ask you a question. What was wrong with it? I said, "You bent the shifter the first time you got it stuck, I bet you." "I don't know how." "How do you bend a 4-wheel drive shifter? It just it shifts 3 inches straight down. That's all you got to do is push it down. That's it. You're in. Click."
I guarantee you what happened when you hit the ditch. His ass hit the top of the shifter and pushed it toward the passenger side, and that was the way it was bent.
You might be right. He was a big boy. He looked like T. Justice.
I used to straighten bent motorcycle frames from wrecks, and just by looking at the motorcycle, I could tell you exactly what happened in the wreck. And that used to amaze my boss. He was like, he said, "Wait a minute, let me call him up and get the police report on this and see how close you are." And every time he'd say, "Damn it, you dead on." Every time. Going from, well, this car hit the bike or the bike hit this car. It went off the road. It flipped 3 times this way and 1 time this way. Or he ran down into a culvert, or he ass-ended somebody, or whatever. And I was always right. He said, "You need to go to work with the police department as a detective." He said,
"No, sir.
Be straightening motorcycle frames."
I used to train dogs for search and rescue, but before that, I trained dogs for police. And when I turned about 16, I found out that the police were basically, when you're training a dog, you have to have a way of triggering his response on purpose, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have a signal that is easy to remember, that you can teach the handler that you're giving the dog to, selling the dog, however that works out.
Right.
That this is how you train him. You have him trained to respond in the alert command through a hand signal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fast forward 2 years, and I come across one of my dogs that I had trained myself, and I seen the cop use the alert hand signal to trigger that dog. And I walked in. I thought my girlfriend was going to lose her mind. I was in the middle of eating a Waffle House sandwich and spit it out and stood up and walked out and walked straight up to that cop and said, "No, sir." He said, "Excuse me?" I said, "No, sir. I trained that dog. You triggered him to signal." He said, "I did not." I said, "I will take you to court. I will win this because his name is Annie. I thought he was a female when he was younger." And when I said Annie, the dog all but clawed his way out of the back of the truck. Right? He's like, "Now you need to step away from my investigation." I said, "All right, but one thing you're going to have to do is put that dog up. And if I ever see you use a hand signal to trigger an alert response, you're losing your job, bud. You will no longer be a cop in Georgia." Because at the time we were providing dogs for 60 different police departments around. So
Well,
there was a bit of a discussion that went on. there was a
I'm
little
all-
bit of discussion that
all law enforcement individuals on account of that kind of crap.
yeah. Yeah, I mean,
That's why I don't trust law. I don't like it. Now, if they were honest, yeah, I wouldn't have a problem in the world with them. But I have been screwed over myself, and I have seen other people get screwed over by them just because they wanted to put $1 in their back pocket. And that's bullshit.
back to blue till it happens to you. Yes, sir. It has become a revenue generation business.
Exactly. I got locked up for being doing self defense. The guy was on my property, threatening me, and I'm pretty fast. I got a little bit of you know what you call martial arts training, and I'm also damn good with a knife, and I'm good with a gun. Well, this guy was told not to ever come back on my property. Well, he come over to me and was messing with me. I knocked him on his ass twice, and I told him, "Don't come back at me, or you're gonna regret it." Well, he come back at me, and I flipped my razor knife out, but I put my thumb over it where it was only about a 1/4 inch of blade sticking out, and I cut him right on his throat. Kind of as a warning, you know. I scratched him deep. Is what
I got to
I
be
did.
honest with you, man. That's a fairly poignant warning.
What's that?
That is a very poignant warning.
Yeah.
When you scratch somebody on the throat, bro, you can
Yeah.
make the argument that that's attempted murder, although I see where you're coming from.
Hey,
He did-
he
he
come
did-
to me for
he
the
did
third
warn him,
time.
to be fair.
Third time's the charm. I should have just went ahead and killed him. I'm serious. After I look back on it, I should have went ahead and killed him. Then I could have proved where he was. What they locked me up on is they said I went to him. I said, "Oh hell no, he came to me." And when the cop that got me, told him exactly where I was, they said, "Uh-oh, we fixing to get sued." And they couldn't get me out of that jailhouse fast enough. I spent 4 months in there though. Sorry bastards. I told them, I said, "Next time y'all come looking for me, somebody's gonna die." I told them that before I walked out that jailhouse. I said, "I will not get locked up for something for defending myself again." I said, "I'll blow somebody's freaking head off before I do." And I said, "That's not a threat. That's a promise. Just leave me alone."
I don't threaten people. I just make statements that haven't come true yet.
But, yeah. But I told him, I said, "As long as you leave me alone, you fine." I said, "If you come after me, be prepared to die." I told them that straight up. They ain't bothered me since. It's been about 9 months ago now. I seen one pull up out there in my yard one day, and I throwed the front door open, and I says, "You on private property, get the hell out of here." And they did. You know, it was just parking. I don't know what the hell they were doing, but I figured they was being nosy. So I throwed the front door open. I said, "You on private property?"
Welcome to the lovely Lady Love. How are you?
Welcome to the show, darling. Good to see you.
Caucasian, you're such a fucking little cop.
I'm just over here being I'm over here being an armchair quarterback for the universe. You know how that
I'm
goes.
just fucking with you.
I cop
No, I
feels.
love
I
you,
don't
buddy.
cop on the streets.
I know. You were with the animals. That's all right. But I just had to say that. The FCP. wait.
Okay,
There you
we showed swords. Is it okay to show a firearm?
He's in Scotland. I'm not sure that is acceptable
Oh,
there.
he's in
Yeah.
Ireland.
Oh,
Ireland.
I'm sorry, Ireland. My bad.
Even
Fucking-
though I have Scottish heritage, but
I probably do too.
Okay,
That makes two of us.
we won't do that. I was gonna show.
Okay.
I was gonna show you my 44 Magnum, but
Is it
That's
Black Hawk?
You can mail it to me and I'll look at it. I'm in
and as they say in Edinburgh, right? Fuck you and your brass, eh?
Show it.
actually, a Black Hawk is a Ruger.
I'm in
This is
I'm in a
Okay.
constitutional carry state. It's pretty awesome. I came from a
doesn't have a particular name other than the model of it. And let's see, what does it say? It don't even say the model on it, but I ran the serial numbers on it and found out I basically stole it. I paid like $500.
Tell me what color it is.
And I
Is it
found
black
out
or is it gunmetal gray?
$100 used. So it's a nice gun.
Sounds like it.
It's a 16 barrel. No. 5 inch
11 and 1.
barrel. I ain't got a tape measure. I'd measure it, but it's either a 4 or 5 inch barrel.
You want to show?
Yeah.
Do you want to show it?
Show
It's a
it.
handful.
How many
that
goes in the
one-
clip? Is it a
yeah.
16? Is it 16 clip or 11 clip?
Oh no, it's a revolver, 6-shot.
Oh, it's a
We're
revolver.
talking
I
a
didn't hear that part.
revolver, an old horse gun, son.
Yeah, 44 Magnum.
That's what I grew up shooting. My pops had a Black Hawk, and that's what I learned to fast draw and shoot with. And let me tell you a little something about a 44. It is not a 357. You can't put a 38 in it and just go pow, pow, pow like they do in the movies.
No.
When you pull a trigger on a 44 Magnum, you need to be holding on to it and have a firm footing.
Yes, sir.
You need to
I'm
not
gonna-
be a female standing there looking all cute. You know, you gotta be.
I'm gonna keep mine with 1 inch, no problem.
I know
I've been
exactly what you're talking
pulling
about,
inches all
Caucasian.
life,
Oh
and
my
I
god,
can handle a 44 Magnum. I'll tell you one that did surprise me though.
pretty kick.
I tried a Casel 454 conversion. Now that bad boy kicks almost twice as hard as a 44 Magnum. But I fell in love with the damn thing, but the guy wouldn't sell it to me. He said, "Give me that back. You like it too much." I said, "You won't sell it to me. I got $2,000 in my pocket right now." He would not sell it to me.
Yeah, it's one of
That's
those where
anybody
you
would.
have to keep her underneath your pillow.
Dude, you put that
I
thing
sleep with the
underneath
hammer under
your
the pillow,
pillow, you're going to have some neck problems.
That's when you have to use the pillow to shoot it. Yeah, exactly. Put a pillow between you and the.
Give you an example of what it will do. The guy that owned it accidentally pulled the trigger on it one day. It was pointed toward one of his old cars in his backyard. It went through both sides of one door, out the floor of the car, and dug a trench in the dirt going away from the car.
Let me give you a
Come
tip on a
on.
44 Magnum. When I was a very young kid, I was maybe 8 or 9, and my uncle is a Korean veteran, and he hates when he's drinking. Now he's a perfectly reasonable man, but when he's in his cups, he is a violent, unstable sociopath.
Oh God!
He was sitting out in front of this bar over here, and this guy pulls up, and I can't remember the name of the car, but there's some Korean manufacturer makes cars, and guy pulls up in this car, and homie twitches a couple of times, and one of his sons looks at me and says, "Oh shit." And I was like, "What?" And he pulled that 44 Magnum out and blew freaking drive shafts and stuff out the other end of that car. He shot it straight through the engine block. It completely demolished the mailbox behind it. There was bits and pieces of Korean automobile all over that parking lot. And the guy driving it was like, "Oh my God." And he jumps out and rolls into the ditch and calls the cops. And we walked over and looked at him and was like, "Hey man, are you Korean?" He said, "No, but he's shooting at me." Oh no, he hit exactly what he was aiming at. And I'm sure if you go talk to him, he's perfectly willing to buy you a new car. He's like, "What?" I was like, "Come on, let me introduce you. This is Blackball, my uncle. He's not actually insane. He's just angry."
Anything that comes from Korea.
Yeah, he bought him a new car. He did. He went down to the dealership that very morning, the very following morning. The guy picked out the car he wanted. He signed on the dotted line, and they left. Paid it off.
Don't you be putting nothing made in Korea in front of me, boy. That's funny.
How many cars did he have to shoot to overcome that trigger, or is it still in?
I'm unaware. I stopped hanging around with the man after that. He just seemed unstable to me.
Fair enough.
I can't blame you.
I don't go nowhere with him no more.
Nah,
A
it's safe.
stranger's car just says, oh, hell no, that comes from Korea. It's got to die.
Yeah. And there wasn't even a thought process to it. He just cocked his head to the side and all of his kids scattered. I was sitting right next to him. No.
Okay,
One
good.
shot,
I'm good.
real slow. Bam. Got it.
Be like the movie Cheech and Chong. What was it? Things Are Tough All Over.
Yeah.
And the ones that they played that was going across the desert in the Toyota. He killed a cop. That was funny. He went up, he knocked all the windows out of it, and all it was the car ran out of gas. So he killed the Toyota. He said the car is dead, and no need to kill it no longer.
I got to tell you, man, back then it was rough to kill a Toyota.
Oh man,
You had
that
to
was
work.
one of the most. That and a little Datsun pickup truck.
Little Datsun, little D50, dude. I must have drove that D50 a million miles, man.
I had one. You know what finally killed it? The frame rusted in half.
Yep.
It still runs. I drove it on the trailer to carry it to the scrapyard. When I got to the scrapyard to unload it, the guy with the the grabber thing was going to grab it, and I said, I hopped in it, cranked it up, and backed it off the trailer with the frame dragging the ground.
All right, so mine.
I'm going to take my battery home. I opened it and took the battery out of it, and I said, you can have the car now. The guy looked at me in the crane and scratched his head like, I don't believe somebody just brought a running truck to the scrapyard. Well, I had no more use for it. Other than patch the frame up and drive it a little bit more. I mean, it was the damn thing had 280,000 miles on it.
This one, the one I had, froze at 297,000 miles 8 years before it got totaled. And when it got totaled, it wasn't anyone's fault. I had parked it on a newly made driveway entrance to a road, and when they had done the driveway, they didn't do the drainage properly. And so it ended up being swamped up on one side by dirt and washed out from on the other side. And then it caved into the ditch overnight. So like I come back to come get it the next day and my truck's gone. It's not that it's fucked up. It's gone. It's not there. And I ended up calling the cops. I was like, I think somebody stole my truck. And then I went down to the driveway and they were trying to work on the driveway to fix it. And they found my truck in the ditch under the mud. That thing was solid packed. One of the windows was open. It had run down into the cab, into all the little things on the dashboard, broke out the window. I just looked at it, was like,
where the guy left his convertible parked in front of ex-wife's house or some shit like that, and she had somebody come with a cement truck and filled it full of cement.
dude, it couldn't have been any more full than it was.
Oh god.
The passenger side window was rolled all the way up and the driver's side window was rolled all the way down. And when it fell over sideways, the drainage off that hillside went right in that window. Half the hillside went with it. Listen, when they went to drag, this is the funny part. When they went to pull it out of the hole, they hooked up to it with a crane and ripped off half the side of it. Hooked up to the other frame and ripped off the other half, and then pulled the engine out in bits and pieces, and then buried the rest.
Epic.
They had a camera.
Let it rest in peace, you know.
You right?
Initially, I told him, I was like, shit, just bury it. It's not it's not really pulling out. I mean, I had to get a shovel to dig in and find my wallet.
Oh shit! You left your wallet in it,
Dude.
Yeah, why did you
Yeah,
pull it out first?
no, I parked it. I parked it and went up the hill to go talk to the people at the place. Ended up getting drunk, decided I didn't need to drive. So I went out during the storm and put my wallet in my truck with my keys and some other stuff, and forgot to roll up the damn window because it was all trashed out, wasn't rolling up right anyway. So I was like, screw it. It's just going to die anyway. Right. I had no idea how right I was.
that's the story you tell the grandkids. This is why you should not go out and get drunk.
In ever.
You lose your truck in a rainstorm, and they go, huh? What?
Yeah, but the look on Mark's face the next morning when I went down the hill and I stopped and there's nothing but a canyon. Like there's no driveway, half the road's washed out. There's no truck. I'm
like,
just like,
damn. You're like, damn, what the hell did I drink? I could have
real hard. I go back up to the house and I go, Mark, is your phone working? He said, nah, it went out about halfway through the night. I said, I imagine so. Anybody got a cell phone that works? So he's like, not up here, man. I was like, okay. I'm going to walk down the mountain a little way, see if I can find me a signal. I got to call the cops. He said, why? I said, somebody stole my truck. He said, how? Well, I mean, then I thought about it. I was like, man, it would take somebody who knew how to crank that truck to crank it because you basically had to hotwire it. I had it rigged to a switch. The key had worn out years ago. You had to put the key in and turn it and then flip the switch to hit the starter.
Oh God, you had the old school shit.
Oh yeah, baby.
Put the key in, turned it on, pushed the clutch down, reached over and hit a button.
A toggle,
Yeah.
one of those reflex toggle switches, so it wouldn't lock up and stay cranking.
Oh, you had what?
I wired it up right.
Single pole, single throw, return to center momentary switch. Yep.
Right. Ka-chink. Yeah.
Which basically is a button. Yeah.
It's a button. It's a button that unbuttons when you let go.
Yep. I remember those days. I had a 49 Chevrolet.
Super stable.
My first attempt.
Now, the other story, I had a 49 Chevrolet, right? It was Chevrolet Deluxe 4-door. There was no cloth left on the seats. No headliner left in it. It sat out in my dad's backyard for God knows how many years, since I was about 5 years old. I remember it sitting there. Well, I turned about 14, 15 years old. I decided to go out there and mess with it one day. I checked the oil. It still had oil in it. Of course, it didn't have any gas in it. That had all been siphoned out. So I went and got some gas, and it was a 6-volt system, and I couldn't find a 6-volt battery. So I went and unplugged all the lights from the harness, unplugged everything except the starter. I dumped a little gas on the carburetor, and at that time, the old Rochester on it, old 6-cylinder flathead, the old Rochester on it had a little bowl vent that you could pick up. So I filled a bowl full of gas, and I got in this thing, and I hit the starter on it, and son of a gun, it's wow, 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 blah, 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 blah. Now you got to remember, this thing been sitting for almost 20 years. So the tires had sunk into the dirt. Well, I reached down and I hit the clutch and it still worked. I put her in reverse and son of a gun, the old gal backed right out of the 4 holes. I said, well, hell, let's see if it'll go down the road. Of course, I put about 3 or 4 gallons of gas in it. I carried it down to the end of the road, which is about 1.5 miles. I found out the second gear did not work. That's why they parked it. So it was like, shit. Drove it all the way back to the house, and my dumb ass parked it right back where it was, right back in the hole. Well, about a half a year went by, and all of a sudden I come home one evening and the car's gone. I said, Dad, what'd you do with the car? He said, man, I sold that thing for junk. It's been sitting back there forever. I said, Dad, I had it running. I actually drove it to the end of the road and back. He goes, you got to be shitting me. You actually had that thing running? I said, yeah, I ain't lying. He said, well, damn, if I'd have known that, I'd have give it to you. I told him I drove it to the end of the road and back. He didn't believe it to start with. And then he got to thinking about it, and he says, I was wondering what the tire tracks was behind it, leading up to it. I said, what was its tire tracks? I couldn't believe the darn tires were still up on it. They've been sitting there, I know, at least 15 or 20 years.
So, guys, I'm gonna end the stream. I just want to say thank you to all of you that came in the chat and indeed on the panel.
Enjoyed it.
Subscribe, and share, and I'll catch you on the next cartoon. Take care.
Everybody, check out my old channel there, and I'll get up with all of you.